tips, hacks, suggestions, cheats, whatever you want to call them, we have plenty that are going to make your next triathlon faster, easier, smoother, more fun. Basically, you need to watch this video and you will be better at your next triathlon without having to train harder.
Well, for today's video, you are going to need some cable ties, some elastic bands, some lubricant, some scissors, a bottle, some toilet roll, some electrical tape, a plastic bag, and some talcum powder. So what are we making? Well, you could make quite a lot with all this. You could be pretty creative. But we are triathletes, so we should probably use this pile of stuff to help us do a triathlon.
Well, to guide us through, let's go in triathlon order. So starting with the swim, I will need scissors, lube, and a plastic bag, please. Okay, so do you ever struggle to put your wetsuit on over your feet? If so, then this could be very useful. You can either use this or a pair of socks, but basically, if you put this over your feet, then you'll be able to slide into your wetsuit much easier. Just remember to take it off afterwards. Then that moves us on to the lube. So for this, you obviously need to make sure that you've got plenty of lube around the back of your neck and places where your wetsuit might rub. But it's also quite a good idea to pop a little bit around your wrists and your ankles, as it's just going to make getting that wetsuit off a little bit easier, and it's going to stop anyone grabbing onto your ankles for a free ride. Just make sure that you remember to wash off the lube afterwards, as you don't want to be touching your goggles or anything with lubrication on them, basically. And that leads us on to these. You're probably wondering what on earth I'm doing with scissors. Now, these need to be used very carefully, obviously. They could be dangerous, but mainly because we are going to be looking at your wetsuit. I've actually borrowed Mark's wetsuit for this. I haven't told him yet. So if your wetsuit is really long on the legs, it can be quite hard to get off, and also it gets narrow at the bottom, so that makes it a bit tighter to get over your ankles. So you can actually cut a little bit off the bottom, but I would do this with caution and also do a very small amount first and then try it on and see how that feels, and then put it back on again, and also make sure you do a very tidy job, because you'll be stuck with that and you do want it obviously to look nice. Okay, I think I'll have a drink now, please. Thank you. Okay, I'm not actually talking about hydration, because hopefully you guys have that covered by now. You should do, at least. The water bottle is just a little extra if you're doing a triathlon that has a beach exit or a gravelly exit, and you want to make sure that your feet are nice and clean before you get on your bike, and you don't want to have gravel or sand just irritating your feet, especially if you're doing a long distance triathlon. So why not just have a water bottle in transition, rinse your feet off, and then you're good to go.
All right, next up, I'm going to need some elastics, some cable ties, some electrical tape, and some talcum powder. Yeah, no guesses what we're up to here. We are mostly fixing things to the bike. Now, first off, elastics. Now, this is mostly for those that are doing flying mounts, and if you are already currently doing flying mounts and confident in that, then you're probably aware of what these are for. But basically, they're so you can hold your bike shoe up that is fixed to your pedal. So when you run through transition, you're able to jump onto your bike, the shoe is in place already, hasn't been bouncing along the floor either, and you'll be able to put your foot straight on top, or straight in if you're very skilled, and pedal away, and it will snap that elastic band. So nice and easy. You can also use these elastics, as we've seen many of the pros doing, for actually holding things like bottles in place, particularly when you've got those bottles behind the saddle for those bottle rockets to stop them from coming off. Bit fiddly, but definitely worth it if you are worried about losing your bottle. I think the costs are far outweighed there. Next up, we have the electrical tape. You don't need industrial electrical tape like this. This is all I can find, but it will work. And this is for fixing things like energy gels to the top tube or wherever suitable on your bike. And you can just easily rip this and snap it when you're on the go. We've also got cable ties. I've got to be honest, you probably need a couple of these. These are more as a last resort. If everything goes Pete Tong and you just need something to get you out of an issue, a problem. So you can fix something on your bike, maybe just something good to stash somewhere. And finally, the talcum powder comes in use with things like your bike shoes or your running shoes. You're trying to put your feet in quickly with damp, wet, sweaty feet, and that's just going to help with that.
Okay, finally, some more general hacks that do not require the full contents of your DIY cupboard. And some of these might be obvious, but I don't want to presume, so we are going to go through everything. We have these elastic laces. These are a brilliant return on investment because they do just cost a few pounds and they can save you quite a few seconds, basically making you putting your shoes on that much easier. Very simple.
They're a no-brainer, and the same applies for the race belt. Don't go faffing with safety pins, trying to attach a number in T1, then swap it around and change it onto something else in T2. Get yourself a race belt, attach the number to this, and you can use this on both the bike and the run. In some cases, even wear it for the swim if you want. And also, you can, if you want, just use any old elastic from your kitchen cupboard if you want, rather than having to go out and buy a purpose-built race belt. And another little top tip with this, if you scrunch up the number beforehand, the number will flap less on the bike. Trust us on that one.
You have to believe us on that one. Now, are you someone who maybe struggles to open your gels whilst you're on the bike, especially if you're doing a long triathlon with a long bike leg and you might just struggle to store them all? Well, you can simply squeeze them out of the packet into a bottle. You just need to make sure that you obviously count how many have gone in, maybe put markers on your bottle so you know how much carbs you're taking per hour.
Yeah, and also if you are planning on using a bike computer, if you have one of these, then don't wait until you're in T1 and going out onto the bike to switch it on and power it up, because you are going to lose some valuable seconds doing that and it may take a while to gain GPS. So switch this on beforehand, switch it off sleep mode, so when you head off for the swim, it's ready to go, it doesn't go to sleep, so when you come out onto the bike, you're not faffing around with anything, and off you go.
Yeah, simple. Another very small hack, if you are using a road helmet and a pair of sunglasses, then you can simply put your sunglasses already on your helmet. So when you come into transition, you literally put your helmet on and you can sort out your sunnies once you're out on the road on the bike, once you're getting up to speed, and it just saves you a few more seconds.
Yeah, and a very final one that you probably wouldn't think of.
There it is.
Loo roll. You don't need the whole loo roll, mind you, maybe just a few sheets, but yeah. The public loos don't always have loo roll for you, and it can be a bit disastrous on race morning when you're queuing for the toilets and it isn't there for you, so take that with you.
Yeah, you might also make some friends, mightn't you?
Yeah, you may do, yeah.
At that point.
Take the whole loo roll in that case.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you have enjoyed this. Go and raid your DIY cupboards and see what you guys can do. And if there's any other hacks that you think might be useful that we haven't even thought of, please leave those in the comment section below.